had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television. They had a recording of Meek and Diddy
making love?
Ew. I don't know if it was love.
They want to make it. They want to make it so badly. You get these vulnerable people. Parents are letting you do this because they want to make it so badly. And then you record them probably and say, if you do anything, we got this on you.
You know, go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody.
For years, Justin Bieber stayed silent, rising from a bright-eyed YouTube teen sensation to one of the biggest pop stars on the planet. But behind the scenes, few knew the darkness he was navigating. Now, as lawsuits rain down on Sean Diddy, combs and disturbing allegations emerge from multiple celebrities, it looks like Justin is finally ready to break his silence. And what he's starting to reveal is deeply unsettling. Fan theories that once seemed far-fetched are now starting to look like cold, hard truth. Old interview clips, cryptic behavior, and awkward red carpet moments are resurfacing. And suddenly, Justin's long, complicated history with Diddy is under a harsh spotlight. But this isn't just another celebrity scandal. According to reports, Justin is speaking out about the things he allegedly witnessed firsthand, including disturbing claims about what went on behind closed doors. He's reportedly hinted at a list of major rappers and celebrities Diddy was allegedly involved with, including big names like Usher and Meek Mill. These aren't just internet rumors either. Some of these men have long been tied to Diddy through eyebrow-raising stories and leaked content, like Meek's infamous video. Now, things that fans once brushed off, strange party tales, unsettling photos, awkward interviews, are starting to make chilling sense. And Justin? He's not staying quiet anymore. Just recently, he posted a bizarre video of himself eating pizza, the same day Cassie testified against Diddy. Many believe it was no coincidence. Some even say the video looked like it came from a surveillance feed, eerily similar to the kind of hidden cameras Diddy allegedly used to record his now infamous freak-off parties.
Moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
But if you ask Usher, his early years under Diddy's mentorship weren't exactly the dream they appeared to be. In past interviews, Usher has hinted that what he experienced wasn't your average music industry training. Far from it. At first, it was thrilling. He was surrounded by stars, high-energy environments, and endless opportunities. But that thrill quickly turned into confusion and deep discomfort. Usher began noticing things. Strange parties with a vibe that felt off, people showing up at all hours, behavior that clashed with Diddy's polished public image. He later admitted it was overwhelming. He was just a kid, far from home, suddenly immersed in a chaotic world that felt more dangerous than inspiring. Over time, that so-called mentorship faded and Usher quietly began to distance himself. He's never spilled all the details, but fans have long believed that his early time with Diddy left a lasting scar. And now, in light of the explosive lawsuits, disturbing allegations, and Justin Bieber's cryptic hints about his own experiences, many are re-examining Usher's story through a darker, more sobering lens. It's important to remember, Usher met Diddy when he was just 13 years old. Diddy wasn't just a mentor, he became Usher's legal guardian, producing his debut album in 1994. At the time, it looked like the opportunity of a lifetime. But years later, in a 2004 interview with Rolling Stone, Usher admitted that Diddy exposed him to a lifestyle that was way too mature for a kid his age. He recalled being surrounded by things no teenager should ever witness. Back then, people brushed it off as just how the industry works. But today, it reads like a serious red flag.
We used to wake up and, pause, but like just back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the frosted flake.
During his 35th birthday celebration back in 2013, Usher dropped a bombshell while reflecting on his early years in the music industry. And the man at the center of it all was none other than Sean Diddy Combs. According to Daily Mail, Diddy was actually present at the event when Usher took the mic and gave a surprisingly candid speech. He looked back on his teenage years and said, "I was introduced to everything by Puff Daddy when I was only 15, hinting at the wild parties, the flashy lifestyle, and the fast-paced world that came with being in Diddy's orbit." And while Usher admitted he'd had a taste of it all, he made a point to say he never let it consume him. Still, he weirdly added that he wouldn't take back the advice Diddy had given him, a statement that now hits very differently in light of today's allegations, but it gets even more unsettling. In a 2016 appearance on The Howard Stern Show, Usher opened up further, this time bringing up the now infamous Puffy Flavor Camp, a nickname for the private trips and exclusive gatherings that Diddy organized under the guise of mentorship. Usher described those experiences as places where very curious things were happening. And when Howard asked him the burning question, would he ever send his own kids to something like that? Usher didn't even flinch. "Hell no," he said. That one-word answer spoke volumes. And now, with lawsuits mounting and Diddy's entire empire under scrutiny, fans are piecing it all together. What once sounded like industry gossip now feels like a warning we all ignored.
I did say is that there were very curious things taking place, and I didn't necessarily understand.
Looking back now, Usher's past comments about Diddy hit completely different. What once came off as wild behind-the-scenes industry stories now raise very real and deeply disturbing questions about what young artists were actually being exposed to behind closed doors. While Usher has kept largely quiet in recent years, his silence has become deafening, especially now as lawsuits and explosive allegations continue to pile up against Bad Boy Records founder Sean Diddy Combs. And then came something strange. In September 2024, fans noticed that Usher had wiped every single post from his ex, formerly Twitter account. Gone. Just like that. No explanation, no farewell, just a blank slate. When questions started flying, Usher casually claimed he had been hacked, but fans weren't buying it. Why now? Why completely erase your digital presence just as federal investigations into Diddy and his inner circle began to heat up? For many, the timing felt way too convenient. Some believe Usher may be staying silent out of fear, that Diddy, known for his behind-the-scenes power, still has leverage over those from his past. Others think Usher might be scrubbing any digital, traces that could later tie him to darker truths about what really went down during those wild early years. After all, Usher had a front-row seat to Diddy's world as a teenager, a world that now appears more sinister than glamorous. And just as Usher has gone radio silent, Justin Bieber is doing the opposite, slowly but surely beginning to open up about his own history with Diddy and what he saw from the inside. For years, people dismissed Justin's public meltdowns, rebellious behavior, and substance struggles as typical child star drama. But now, fans are seeing the cracks in a very different light. Maybe it wasn't rebellion. Maybe it was trauma. Sources close to Bieber say he was around during Diddy's later years, when the parties weren't just wild, they were unsettling. Justin wasn't just attending events for fun. He was allegedly exposed to a side of the industry no child ever should have seen. He was young, impressionable, and stuck in the shadows of some of the most powerful and dangerous people in music. And right beside him, Usher, a young man who had already lived through it. Now Bieber is ready to speak not just for himself, but for what he witnessed others endure. One of the most shocking parts? The name Meek Mill. According to bombshell claims buried deep within Rodney Lil Rod Jones's lawsuit against Diddy, it's alleged that Diddy bragged about having both Usher and Meek Mill, a chilling, almost casual statement that raised eyebrows across the industry. While neither Meek nor Usher are accused of wrongdoing, their names being referenced in this disturbing context has sent shockwaves online. Even more damning, leaked audio has surfaced, allegedly backing up those very claims. This isn't just gossip anymore. It's starting to feel like the unraveling of something much darker, and we've only scratched the surface.
What? Yo, wait a minute.
So Meek basically shut down Jones's accusations in a whole marathon of posts on X, Twitter's new name now. He was like, "No man or Watt would ever approach me about gay activity, and the whole place don't get flipped. Woke up seeing this on every blog like they know I'm coming." Lol. That's classic Meek right there. Always raw, unfiltered, and straight to the point on social media. But this time, that same unpolished vibe kind of worked against him instead of calming things down. Fans and followers jumped on his every word, especially since he was so loud about declaring his heterosexuality. It almost felt like the more he insisted, the more people dug in with questions and jokes. But Meek Mill, who's been linked to Diddy in all kinds of stories over the years, has been pretty clear about shutting down the rumors that there was anything romantic or sexual between them. You might have heard about some wild parties they've both been to together, including that infamous 2014 Grammys party that Meek actually hosted. Yeah, that one got broken up by the cops, which only added to the drama and speculation. But despite all the rumors flying around, Meek has consistently denied that anything like a sexual relationship ever happened between him and Diddy. Their connection mostly comes from the music world. They worked together quite a bit between 2012 and 2015, for example. Meek is featured on Diddy's track, I Want the Love, and Diddy returned the favor by appearing on Meek's song Cold Hearted, so it's clear they had a professional relationship and some creative chemistry, but beyond that, Meek's made it pretty obvious that the rumors about them going beyond that are just that, rumors. It's interesting because when two big names like Meek and Diddy have worked together and shown up at the same events, it's almost like people expect drama or gossip to follow, and sometimes the more public and flashy the parties get, like that Grammy night, the more wild stories pop up. But Meek has kept his stance consistent. He hasn't just ignored the rumors, he's actively pushed back against them whenever they come up, making it clear he's focused on his career and isn't about to get caught up in baseless speculation. At the end of the day, their history is tied to music and business, not anything else. And while rumors can spread like wildfire online, especially when there's a lot of attention on both of them, Meek's response shows he's not here for the drama, just the facts. After all the rumors and wild speculation, Meek Mill actually went a step further and announced he'd pay an investigative team a whopping $100,000 just to find out how these stories linking him to Diddy even started popping up in the media. That move really made people sit up and take notice. It wasn't just a casual denial anymore. It was like Meek was saying, someone's out here trying to mess with my name on purpose by offering that kind of money. He was basically hinting at a conspiracy or some behind-the-scenes effort to smear him. What's interesting is that Meek hasn't directly responded to Diddy's own allegations or statements about him. Instead, he's kept things pretty vague but firm. Back in April, he posted on social media, "I don't believe no Diddy story," and added, "Once they lied about me," making it clear he's skeptical of anything coming from that side and feels like he's been targeted with false information. Before, it's like he's saying, I've been through this kind of drama before, so I'm not falling for it. Now, a lot of people out there think Meek's quick to call all these rumors fake because he's not ready or maybe just doesn't want to be vulnerable about what actually went down with Diddy. You know how it is admitting something like that, especially when it involves someone as big and powerful as Diddy, means opening yourself up to a whole lot of scrutiny and judgment. It's not just about the story itself, it's about the fallout, the way people might treat you afterward, and the personal pain that comes with sharing something so raw. Some fans and observers feel like Meek's pushing back so hard and denying everything because it's easier to shut it down than to deal with the mess that would come from spilling the real truth. Vulnerability can be scary, especially in the public eye where every word is dissected and turned into headlines or memes. Plus, Meek's always been known for keeping it tough and unfiltered on social media, which sometimes makes it hard to tell what he's really feeling beneath the surface. There's also this idea that if Meek did open up about what happened with Diddy, it could shake up a lot of things. His image, his relationships in the industry, and even his fan base. It's a heavy weight to carry, and sometimes people cope by denying or minimizing the situation instead of confronting it head-on. That doesn't mean he's lying or playing games. It could just mean he's protecting himself in the way he knows how. And there are other stars too who apparently JB had seen with Puff Diddy's been known for throwing some seriously wild parties over the years, and Fab definitely seemed to have seen his fair share of them. In fact, back in 2021, Fab shared a funny little story on his Instagram about one time he pulled an Irish exit at one of Diddy's parties. For anyone not in the know, an Irish exit is when you sneak out without saying goodbye, usually by pretending to go to the bathroom and then just disappearing. Classic move when you want to avoid the awkwardness of leaving a party. Fab explained it pretty perfectly. You ever got peer pressured into going to the afters? You really want to go home or back to the room, but you don't want to be the turn down to the turn up. Basically, you don't want to be the buzzkill, but you're ready to call it a night, so he told Diddy he was heading to the bathroom and then just slipped out, and get this, it was 700 a.m. and Diddy was still going hard. Fab even admitted this N was still turned.
I want you to party with me for your birthday, man.
We partied for my birthday before. You came to my party.
No, but me and you ain't never really party, you know what I'm saying?
While many in Diddy's orbit quietly suffered through the chaos, others took one look at the madness and ran the other way. and one of those people was veteran rapper Uncle Luke. On a recent episode of the Way in Miami podcast, Luke didn't spill all the tea, but his tone, it said everything. The man clearly saw enough to know when to dip out. When asked why he always made an early exit from Diddy's infamous parties, Uncle Luke didn't hesitate. "I don't know what goes on after hours, but I wasn't trying to find out. I know my place." Translation, he knew things got weird, and he wanted no part of it. Luke also shared a story that proved just how intentional he was about keeping his distance. Remember the hit song I Wanna Rock? Luke made that track famous, but when French Montana sampled it for Pop That, featuring Drake, Rick Ross, and Lil Wayne, nobody even gave Luke a heads up. Diddy invited him to be in the video, but Luke declined, saying it just wasn't his scene. When the hosts asked if he at least took a check for the sample, Luke kept it 100. "Nah, I ain't want no check." And when someone chimed in, "All money ain't good money," Luke just nodded, like he knew exactly what that meant. For him, staying real and protecting his peace was worth more than any flashy collab or industry clout. But Luke wasn't done. A few days later, he posted a cryptic video where he hinted that Diddy's legal troubles might not just be about personal drama. They could be the result of pissing off some powerful corporate forces. And honestly, the theory makes sense. Back in June 2023, Diddy's partnership with liquor giant Diageo, the billion-dollar company behind Ciroc and DeLeon Tequila, exploded. Diddy sued them, accusing them of racial discrimination and neglecting their deal. But Diageo clapped back with a shocking detail. Despite raking in nearly $1 billion from those brands, Diddy's personal investment into the joint venture was allegedly just $1,000. That revelation made people look at the whole situation differently. Like maybe Diddy wasn't the power player he portrayed himself to be. Maybe he made the wrong enemies. So when Uncle Luke suggested that Diddy might have crossed the wrong billionaires, that theory suddenly didn't sound so crazy. It all starts to look like a much bigger chess game, where public scandals are just the tip of the iceberg, and the real battle is happening behind boardroom doors. And now, with Justin Bieber slowly speaking out about what he witnessed as a young star in Diddy's world, the pieces are all starting to fall into place. Big industry players were in his early years, especially Diddy. Bieber was discovered at just 13 by Scooter Braun, a former marketing executive who saw huge potential in the young singer Scooter, and Usher actually created a special joint venture called Raymond Braun Music Group just to launch Bieber's career. Now here's where Diddy comes in a video that Bieber uploaded to his YouTube channel back in November 2009 when he was only about 15. Diddy talks about Bieber spending 48 hours. With Diddy, he teased the fun without giving too much away, saying, "Where we're hanging out and what we're doing, we can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream." What's striking is that Diddy says he didn't have legal guardianship over Bieber during those 48 hours like he had when Usher stayed with him, so it was a very brief but intense kind of mentorship or hangout. At one point in the video, Diddy asks Bieber what he wants to do, and Bieber cheekily replies, "Let's go get some girls." Diddy's response, "A man after my own heart, that's what I'm talking about." It's a pretty casual, almost brotherly vibe, but looking back, it's also a glimpse into how Bieber was being introduced to the adult world of music fame and partying at a very young age. Fast forward to December 2010, when Bieber was 16, and there's another video on Diddy's YouTube channel where Diddy is teaching Bieber how to swag walk. He even points out how Bieber was starting to act different, saying, "You ain't been calling me and hanging out how we used to hang out." You can tell they had some kind of bond, even if it wasn't always super close or consistent. As Bieber got older and bigger, the two were pictured together less often, but it seemed like they stayed on decent terms around 2014 on an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Khloe Kardashian dropped a wild story about a party she attended where half the people were butt naked. When her sister Kourtney asked who was there, she named off a list that included Diddy, or Quincy Combs as she called him, putting all this together. It's clear Bieber's early career involved being around some very adult, very intense scenes with Diddy right in the middle of it. And while the public mostly sees the polished pop star, now these glimpses behind the scenes show a much more complicated and sometimes wild introduction to fame. Lately, Justin Bieber has been opening up in a way that's caught a lot of people's attention. He started talking about how back in the day, Diddy used to make him watch some pretty intense stuff, things that Honestly, you wouldn't expect a teenager to be exposed to. It's like Justin's hinting that those early hangouts with Diddy weren't just about having fun or learning the ropes of the music industry. Instead, he's revealing that there was a darker, more uncomfortable side to those experiences. From what Justin shared, it sounds like Diddy would have him sit through things that felt inappropriate or way over his head for a kid that young. It's not exactly clear what the content was, but Justin's tone suggests it wasn't the kind of thing a teenager should have been around. It raises questions about the kind of environment he was being introduced to and whether it was more harmful than helpful for fans and outsiders. It's a lot to take in, especially considering how Diddy was such a big influence early on in Justin's career. Now Justin seems to be pushing back on that narrative, showing a side of the story that's much more complicated. So what do you think? Comment down below and let us know if you liked this video. Click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be the first to see my next video. I post updates like this every week where I uncover the secrets of your favorite celebrities.